Thank you for tuning into the Generational Gauntlet Top 5 Faves. This is the podcast where we give you our top 5 on a topic with a generational twist to it. My name is Matt Lambert, and I'm the host of this podcast. Each week, I bring in a guest who's from a different generation than me to discuss or debate our top 5 on a selected topic. Before we dive into this week's episode, I want to thank everyone who's been listening, leaving a rating on Apple or Spotify, and subscribing to the podcast. While the majority of our listeners are from the United States, I do want to say it's been pretty cool to see some other countries pop up in the analytics. Those have included Brazil, France, Singapore, the United Kingdom, and Canada. Again, thank you for the support. One thing we always do at the end of each episode is I give the podcast's email address and note that if you have a topic you'd like to see ranked, to send it in. Today, we are covering one of those topics that's been suggested by a listener. The suggestion was this: top 5 list of random facts you don't need but are glad you know. I had to take a moment to think about what my facts would be, but my partner in crime for this episode immediately came to mind. And that was bringing my daughter Nora, Gen Alpha, back in for another episode. She is the person I know who knows the most random facts, and she tells them to me all the time. So, Nora, welcome back. I brought you in for this episode because I don't think there's any way you can work K-pop Demon Hunters into this one. How excited are you to tell everyone your 5 random facts?
I'm excited for everybody to know that I'm a giant nerd.
When your dad's a nerd, you're probably going to be a little nerdy too, and there's nothing wrong with being a nerd. So for those who are not familiar with how the podcast works, Nora and I have each completed a top 5 list, and we do not know what's on the other person's list. Nora will give her top 5 and maybe some additional context as to the random fact. Knowing Nora, there's probably a lot of context. I'll do my number 5 and we'll work our way to each of our number 1s. So this one might be a little different than usual, not really a generational topic, but it's educational, and hopefully whoever suggested it is happy. So with that, Nora, I'm going to hand it over to you. What is your number 5 random fact?
My number 5 fact just had to be the left lung is 10% smaller than the right lung
Why is the left lung 10% smaller than the right lung?
to accommodate the heart.
Oh, okay. I would have never thought about that.
I love this fact because it just shows that the human body is unique in its own ways. It's honestly pretty creepy. I was kind of scared when I learned that because I was like, why is one side of my body slightly smaller than the other? It's kind of terrifying, but it just shows that the body is unique in its own ways.
No, I like that fact as well, Nora. So, an anatomical fact to kick us off today. All right, you ready for my number 5?
Mm-hmm.
At the 2008 Beijing Olympics, Usain Bolt ate only chicken nuggets. All right, Nora, this is before your time, so let me give you some context. During the 2008 Olympics, Usain Bolt broke the world record in the 100 meter, the 200 meter, and the 4x100 meter. His 100 meter record was even more impressive because he broke it while he was celebrating in the last 10 meters of the race. Why do you, Nora, I've got a pop quiz for you. Why do you think Usain Bolt ate only chicken nuggets during that Olympics?
I don't mean to upset you, but I don't really know who he is.
That's okay. All right. So the reason he ate chicken nuggets for the whole Olympics is because he was concerned that the local food in Beijing would upset his stomach. So instead, he opted for McDonald's chicken nuggets because he was familiar with the food. He ended up eating 100 nuggets a day for a grand total of 1,000 chicken nuggets during his 10 days in China. He didn't do this for any of his future Olympic Games, but for one historic event, the man was literally thriving off of chicken nuggets. And sometimes I worry that my diet might not be to the level of a professional athlete, but I know for at least a 10-day stretch of time, I ate healthier and cleaner than Usain Bolt. So, Nora, that's my number 5. Could you imagine eating chicken nuggets every day, all day for 10 straight days?
Probably not the healthiest.
No. All right, I'll hand it over to you. What's your number 4 fact?
My number 4 fact has to be an Indian prince once hosted a wedding for his dog.
Okay.
I don't know how to pronounce his name, so I'm just going to go for this. The prince's name was Muhammad Mahabat Khan II.
Okay.
He loved his canine. Probably can't pronounce this either. Roshan, no, Roshan something.
I'm tracking. I'm tracking.
Everyone knows that royal means rich. Most people would spend money on extravagances, but this guy threw a wedding for his dog. I love dogs, so I love this fact. Would I do almost anything for my dogs? Yes. Throw them a wedding? Probably not. There were 250 dogs in this ceremony.
Well, Nora, that is something that is, again, completely new to me. I had no idea that somebody had thrown an extravagant wedding for their dog. Number 4 on my list is also something that I did not know until I was doing some research leading up to us recording this episode. I'll ask you first. Do you know what the national animal of Scotland is?
Nope.
The national animal of Scotland is, wait for it, a unicorn.
Oh, yeah, I did know that.
All right, so do you know why it's a unicorn?
I couldn't find any information on that.
All right, so in the 15th century, Scotland adopted the unicorn as their national animal because it stands for purity, innocence, and strength. This mythical creature is in their royal coat of arms, it's on the Stirling Castle and their market crosses. It's also on the palace of Holyrood House. Is this some type of earth shattering news that all the listeners need to know? Not really at all. Was a child possibly involved in selecting this animal?
Probably.
Highly likely. But for any younger listeners, there you go. There's a country that has a unicorn as their national animal. Nora, I'll hand it back over to you for your number 3.
My number 3 just had to be Theodore Roosevelt explored the Amazon River after retirement. Theodore Roosevelt is one of my favorite presidents, not because of what he did in the Oval Office, but because of what he did outside of it. Theodore Roosevelt is by far the craziest president our country has seen, and I'm here for it. After his time as president, the world thought Colonel Roosevelt would relax. Instead, he explored the River of Doubt, which was an unexplored part of the Amazon River. Colonel Roosevelt did not like the word retirement.
Nora, I love that you chose Theodore. You're aware that he used to train martial arts while in office, right?
Yep, and he boxed his cabinet.
He did, and if I recall, this is an extra random fact. I believe he went either blind or partially blind in one of his eyes from boxing while president. And I think he was also the first judo brown belt that we had either in the U.S. or at least in politics. So I really like the Theodore Roosevelt fact. All right, my number 3, I'm gonna stay with an animal fact here, and it is that cows have best friends. Did you know they have best friends, Nora?
Well, almost every animal has best friends.
Okay, I did not know that. Cows are herd animals, and scientists have discovered that they form strong, preferential bonds with certain other animals in their herd. During the study, they found that the cows became stressed when they were separated from their best friend. When they were paired up with the cow that scientists determined was that cow's best friend, the cows showed lower heart rates and calmer behavior than when paired with a random cow in the herd. Cows, like humans, tend to gravitate toward other cows with similar personalities, which admittedly, I didn't know that cows have defined personalities, but the scientists ranked or separated the cows into personalities such as playful, laid back, aggressive, and then they had other categories as well. They also found that these ties were not familial, So the cows weren't best friends, with their sibling, but they appeared to actually be genuine cow friendships. And in a year that's been, lots of cold weather, lots of snow, I thought this one would just warm people's hearts. Nora, I'll kick it back over to you for your number two random fact.
My number 2 had to be one that I probably said like 20 times. A 20-second hug can release stress from the body. This fact is very dear to me. I time hugs, so the exact amount of stress relief I want is given. I know, I sound nerdy. This fact just goes to show that one little act of kindness can leave a giant impact. A hug so small can put you in a good mood. I thought that was important to know.
Nora, I love the fact that's a sweet fact. I'm also gonna time it the next time you hug me and see if you really stand by this 20-second rule, or are you, really enjoying the hug and you're hugging me longer, or is it shorter? So I'm gonna time you the next time you give me a hug. I'm just putting you on notice of that. All right, Nora, are you ready for my number two?
Uh huh.
Right. So you know this fact, but a lot of the listeners probably do not. There is an island in Brazil that is completely covered in snakes. Snake Island in Brazil may be one of the most dangerous places in the entire world. And I get it. Sometimes in life, we end up somewhere we don't want to be. Maybe you're struggling with work, you're sitting in line at the grocery store, and you don't think that the items are being scanned fast enough. Maybe you're right now listening to this podcast somewhere you don't want to be. You're sitting in traffic. But let me change your perspective and give you a place you definitely never want to venture to. And that is the island. I'm going to try the Portuguese name for it, and that is Ilha da Queimada Grande, or what I'm going to call it in English, Snake Island. The island is the only known home to the golden lancehead snakes, whose venom is so potent that it causes blood clots and hemorrhaging. If you are bitten by one of these guys or gals, you will not last longer than a few hours without treatment. Their venom is 5 times stronger than the average venom for a snake. The snake's venom is so powerful so that it can kill its prey, which are birds. Obviously, they don't get a lot of other random animals on an island, so they're trying to capture birds and incapacitate them before they can fly away. The island is so dangerous that it's illegal to visit it without special permission. The only people who go to the island are the Brazilian Navy, who must occasionally check the lighthouse that was abandoned in the 1920s, and conservationists who go to check on the golden lancehead. Now, I love animals, Nora loves animals, but I don't think that either of us feel like that we should be going and checking on those snakes. I say kind of, let the snakes take care of themselves, but there are some people that are better people than me out there. To visit the island, you must wear snake proof gear. Scientists estimate that this small island has 2,000 to 4,000 golden lanceheads and that there is a snake every 10 feet on the island. So, Nora, I know you practice jujitsu. I know you're learning Portuguese, but I don't know about you. I never want to venture to Snake Island. Are you with me?
I'm gonna have nightmares now.
I'm sorry to cause you a little trauma today, Nora. Let's wipe that trauma out of your mind. Share with everybody what's your number one random fact.
K-pop Demon Hunters has most watches of a Netflix film in Netflix history.
That's your number one random fact.
I have details, don't worry. Even if you hate K-pop Demon Hunters, I'm also talking to you. You have to admit, almost everybody loves it, except you. I love, love, love the movie. The music is incredible, and the movie is a masterpiece. This fact quiets the K-pop haters and puts all fans in a very good mood. K-pop Teen Hunters is a movie that pleases all ages, even adults. except you. It follows three superstars, Rumi, Mira, and Zoe. They hate the rival band, the Soldier Boys. The Soldier Boys are demons who want to steal their fans. The incredible music and exciting plot is a crowd pleaser. That is why K-pop Demon Hunters is the most watched. K-pop Demon Hunters has 500 million views. It's golden.
Nora, here's what I have to say about you throwing in K-pop Demon Hunters to your number one, your number one fact. I hope you're proud of yourself. I should have seen this coming. I thought this was an episode where you couldn't bring K-pop Demon Hunters in, but it never fails. You've managed to work this in to the
you know,
conversation.
the movie is so good. It's so refreshing.
My goodness. All right, well, let's get away from K-pop Demon Hunters. And before I do my number one random fact, your mom has asked that I include her random fact as an honorable mention to our list today. Nora, I know you know this fact, the listeners might not, but my wife came up with this: wombats poop in the shapes of cubes. And they use these cubes, this cube-shaped poop, to stack it and mark their territory. And I'm sure that no one had wombat poop on their podcast bingo card for today, but thanks to my beautiful, amazing wife, Madison, now you do. All right, my number one. Nora, you know this fact, but I know from talking to other people, it's not commonly known, but the Polish army had an enlisted bear. During World War II, the Polish army ended up buying a bear from an Iranian family, and the bear ended up becoming embedded in a military unit. They named him Wojtek. Now, if you look it up, it's Wojtek, but it's pronounced Wojtek. He was initially fed milk out of an old vodka bottle, and they fed him fruit, marmalade, honey, and syrup. Reportedly, beer was his favorite drink. He began eating cigarettes, drinking coffee, and cuddling with the soldiers. He would wrestle the soldiers, and they even taught him how to salute. He began mimicking the soldiers' behaviors, and he became the unit's mascot. When they were deployed to Italy, they were told that a mascot or a pet could not come with them. So, what did they do? They drafted Wojtek as a private in the Polish army. He lived in a tent with other men or in a special wooden crate. During battles, Wojtek would carry 100-pound crates of artillery shells. And during the war, he actually was promoted to corporal. Following the war, the Polish army donated him to a zoo. He was often visited by his former soldiers who would toss him cigarettes. He reportedly loved to be spoken to in Polish, and he was a frequent guest on a BBC Kids television show and lived until the age of 21. There are statues and monuments dedicated to him today. So now anyone listening knows of the incredible story of Wojtek. Nora, you have any closing thoughts on our 5 random facts for the day?
My number one was the best.
You know what? For those that listen to the podcast, we'll post the links to this on my socials, on Facebook, on Instagram. So when we do, let us know who had the better number one fact. Did you prefer the K-pop Demon Hunters, or did you prefer Wojtek, the Polish bear? But there's our 5 random facts for the day. Hopefully, by the end of this episode, they've become a list of random facts you didn't need, but are now glad that you know. If you haven't done so yet, subscribe, leave us a 5-star review, let someone know to check this podcast out. If you're not following us on Facebook, if you're not following us on Instagram, uh, check us out there. We post episode descriptions, we post photos on there. Give us a follow. And finally, if you have a top 5 list that you want us to rank, send it in. I want this podcast to cover topics that interest you, like the episode from today. I take suggestions at generationalfave5@gmail.com. That's generationalfave5 the number 5 at gmail.com. Thanks for tuning in.